To add insult to injury, yesterday on September 11th, the 22nd anniversary of the terrorist attacks on this nation, not only did the President of the United States, for the first time in history, neglect to appear at one of the three most important monuments, the places of those three attacks, Ground Zero, Pentagon, and Shanksville, Pennsylvania. Not only that, but it was also revealed that on that day, of all days, the Biden administration released billions and billions of dollars to the nation of Iran in a so-called prisoner swap, or, well, really to pay off a hostage ransom. How low can this White House go? Let's bring in Walid Phares. He is the author of Iran, an Imperialist Republic and U.S. Policy. And boy, good timing on this book, Walid. Thanks for joining us.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me, Larry.
Am I overstating the case here with my rhetoric? This is a terrorist state. It has been our sworn enemy since the mid-'70s. And why are we giving them all these billions of dollars that they will then turn and use against us and against our allies?
You are absolutely right on target, the Iran regime, because that money did not go to the Iran people. See, that's what the Iran lobby keeps saying. Oh, this is Iran's money. Yeah, but not Iran's regime. It will go to the regime. It did in the past when the Obama administration started this whole journey of transferring money. What did they do with it? What did Tehran do with it? They bought weapons. They bought ballistic missiles, drones. Now we're talking about these drones they sent to Iran. And of course, they funded terrorist organizations across the board. And the administration and the bureaucracy and the Biden administration knows that. Big question. And I've been following this for decades at least. Why would the Iran deal be, so dangerous to us, and yet our administration commits to sending money to that regime?
Yeah. Now, well, they'll say this was to rescue Americans who were held in Iran. Again, a prisoner swap or a negotiated deal. This is ransom, right? What's stopping Iran from taking another dozen Americans so that they can get some more money from America?
Of course, and they understand it. You and I think we understand what happened during the Cold War. They were a swap of prisoners between the Soviet Union and the United States. We have movies on this matter. So normally what happens is that we exchange 2 for 2, 5 for 5. What's this business of adding $6 billion? Is this the tip in a transaction? In my view, Larry, this is a transaction. What is important in that exchange is basically to send $6 billion to the Iran regime and cover it with an exchange of prisoners. That's the other way around, in my view.
Well, and as they obviously are developing nuclear capabilities, and they are hell-bent on doing so, and this administration seems hell-bent on allowing them to do so, as the Obama administration did, we have to reflect on the title of your book, Iran, an Imperialist Republic and U.S. Policy, because this is about our allies. This is about nations that are actually trying to get on the right path in the Middle East, and Iran, they're going to focus their nuclear capabilities and their military capabilities on those countries because they do want to have much more of a footprint in that region, do they not?
Absolutely, Larry. The goal of the Iran regime basically is, first of all, to crush their own people. Talk about it. You have been speaking about it with many experts. Number two is to fund these militias and train them in equipment in Iraq. So they're taking Iraq, in Syria with the Assad regime, obviously in Lebanon with Hezbollah for the last many decades, and surely in Yemen. And they are also penetrating Africa at this point in time, and they have networks all the way to our borders. So Iran is not just Iran. It's an imperialist republic that is taking money from us and spending it against us and our enemy. I have never seen any case in history that would resemble this at all.
And Walid, I'd love to focus on that first point you made, which is crushing their own people, because the policy that we could have right now is engagement with those brave Iranians on the ground who are trying to defy the regime, who have been protesting, who have been standing up, the women who have been killed in the streets by taking off their headscarves. There is a movement on the ground there, and we do nothing for them.
You know, the Obama and then the Biden administration have strange arguments to respond, but when we question them about what have you done in Libya, well, you brought down a regime because allegedly it was persecuting and oppressing demonstrations. You tried to bring down the government in Egypt, and you did the same in Tunisia and in Syria and elsewhere. But why are you not helping the Iranian people with this very large community of Iranian Americans here? Because they have a deal with the regime.
Yeah.
They're not going to help the Iranian diaspora or opposition to go against the regime. And that's my major point in the book. There is a transaction which started in 2015 under the Obama administration, and now it seems it's continuing. And that is, we send them something, they may send us something as well in the same way. They are interested in Washington, D.C., and I'm responsible for what I'm saying. Should it be multinational corporations or agencies or federations of interest in America that has an interest in seeing that deal going through?
Has anyone, Walid, been able to explain in a rational way that it doesn't sound like a joke or a punchline, why Iran, sitting on, I think, either the first or second largest oil deposits on the planet, why they need nuclear capability? What is the peaceful use of nuclear research that they're going to use when they have an unlimited source of energy that they're sitting on under their sand?
Because, as I titled my book, it's an imperialist republic, imperialist regime. Why did the National Socialists want to grab all of Europe? Why did the Soviet Union grab half of Europe? Because of the nature of that regime. Number one, they do have that wealth. They are using it, actually. They are buying weapons despite our sanctions. But what they want is the oil of Iraq, is the gas and oil of Lebanon and Syria, and to control the Red Sea access to international passage of economy in Yemen. So we're dealing with an imperialist regime that wants to be another, what the Bush administration then called it, evil empire, and we are dealing with it as if it was a very normal government.
Yeah.
We're not even talking to the Iranian opposition.
Yeah, we're acting like they're rational actors that can be worked with and negotiated with. Meanwhile, during the Trump administration, we actually put pressure on our allies in Europe. We told them to divest from this evil republic, and they did. It was successful. We were actually putting pressure on this country right up until, well, January of 21 when Biden took over.
Oh, absolutely. Look, during those 4 years, many things have been done. Many things have changed. Number one, we withdrew from that agreement, which was against our interests, and it was crushing the Iranian people. We put the Pasdaran, the Iranian Revolutionary Guard, on the terror list. And among the most important achievements were we formed an international coalition based in Warsaw, by the way, to isolate that regime. And immediately after a change of government, a change of administration here, the current administration, which is extending the policies of the Obama administration, just reversed everything. And the Iranians are now potentially partners. As we have done for Afghanistan, it's not just a policy on Iran, it's a policy on all these jihadist movements in the region. And that's really, really sad.
Walid, only 30 seconds left, but we haven't even mentioned one other country in that region, Israel. It's still this regime's policy that Israel should be removed from the face of the earth. The fact that we just handed $6 billion to this country, isn't that insulting and frankly a despicable act considering our allies in Israel?
Absolutely. We have abandoned our allies. First, the Arab allies. Remember when we put pressures on Saudi Arabia, the UAE, and Egypt because they were coming together to form the Abraham Accord with Israel. But on Israel's issue, I mean, come on. This is a strategic ally. Just this morning or yesterday, Minister of Defense of Israel said Iran is building an airbase in South Lebanon. That's 15 kilometers from the Galilee. With what money? With the money we're sending. So it is really extraordinary what we're saying right now.
Yeah, next year's election can't come fast enough. Walid, thank you. And again, the book, Iran, an Imperialist Republic and U.S. Policy. Read that so you know what's going to happen over the course of the next couple of years. It's O'Connor tonight on Salem News Channel.